Good morning to you all and welcome to this webinar about living and working in Malta. First of all, a very big thank you to our colleagues from EURES Malta, Marvin, Giliane and Diana, that so happily agreed to organize this webinar together with us from EURES Portugal. Thank you again, colleagues, for helping us with this. Then I would just like to briefly go over some rules we should be following during this session. Whenever possible, you will see that the slides will appear. The first ones are in Portuguese, but I will explain them in English so that our colleagues from Malta can follow all the conversation as well, of course. So we have estimated a 1-hour webinar. Where there will be some time for questions and answers in the end. So what we would ask you to do during the info sessions, and since we have already 67 participants, and we want to give you the best possible experience. So what we want from you is that you keep your cameras off, so only the speaker has the camera on, so that the network may work properly, and also to keep your microphones off during the presentation to avoid any noises. In the end, you will be able to put your questions by raising your hands or by using the chat, and our colleagues will try to answer them as best as possible. And in the meantime, while we are having the presentation made by Marvin, we will have Giliane and Daniela in the chat willing to answer all your questions as well. So feel free to share your questions in the chat and participate. And of course, for other questions, me and my colleagues from EURES Portugal who are joining here as well. I'm Susana, by the way, and we have Ana Paula, Nidia, Andrea, and Carmen. We are also here to help, so please feel free to participate. These are the rules for this morning. And now I would just like to briefly present the EURES network, because many of you may not know it, and it's because the EURES network exists that we are here today. So the EURES network.
You are not sharing the. Sorry, Susanna.
Yeah, I can see that, but
Okay,
nevertheless,
no problem. Okay,
I will.
Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, go
trying
on.
to share, but there's an issue. I'm trying again. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. I think the information is so brief that we can do it just like this. No problem. So
please let me know if it's sharing now.
Not yet. No problem. I don't want to take time from our colleagues.
Yeah.
So the EURES is a network where European Employment Services cooperates, and our aim, our objective is to facilitate the free movement of workers within the European Union and the European Economic Area. Now we can see the map just on time. This includes the 27 member states and Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Switzerland. We provide services both to job seekers and employers, whether it's information, advice, or support to recruitment. And in order to provide those services, we have a network of EURES advisors that are real experts in mobility. In Portugal, we have around 35 EURES advisors spread all over the country. And in Europe, all over Europe, there are, I think, 1,000 EURES advisors ready to support you in your career move. We also have an EURES portal where you can find on a daily basis more than 3 million job vacancies available in all sorts of occupations. You just need time and patience to look for it. There is also an online platform where we organize our recruitment events. It's called European Job Days. And we are also available on the chat on Fridays, and of course on social media, where you can follow all the activities we have planned for the near future. So thank you for being here, and without further delay, I pass the floor to Marvin for the presentation about the beautiful country that is Malta, and the floor is yours, Marvin.
Good morning to all. I'm going to show you this brief presentation, so give us a few seconds until the presentation is loaded. I'm going to give some explanation during the presentation. But then at the end of the presentation, you will be having as well some time to ask questions, both to my colleagues and even to myself, that we will be happily answering them as well. So let's start sharing the presentation. So now we can start with our brief presentation about living and working in Malta. Living and working in Malta. First of all, we're going to give you an overview about our country, what the country consists of. Then what you should do before you move to Malta. Then some information about working in Malta, about living and working in Malta, and then finally, how can actually EURES help you to make the most of it and make the move to Malta. As you can see from the slide, Malta is a very small island. It's just 316 kilometers squared. The population is also a small population. It's less than 500,000. We have two official languages, that is Maltese and English. Maltese is our national language, and between ourselves we speak Maltese, but generally speaking, for business purposes and on work, if you know English, because it's one of our official language, it would be enough for you when you make the move. From the 1st of January 2008, Malta currency system changed to the euro system. We became part of the European Union on the 1st of May 2004. As you can see, our climate is very mild and daytime average, especially during spring and summer, it can be around 23 degrees. Our capital city is Valletta, the city built by the Knights of St. John. We have a number of tourists coming over to Malta, and in fact, the tourism sector is one of the pillars of our economy. As you can see, over 1.6 million tourists normally arrive to our island. Our population is predominantly Roman Catholic. Over all denominations have the right to practice their own religion. Malta is, as we have said, a very small country in the Mediterranean. We have a rich history because our country was occupied by a number of foreign conquerors, so we inherited from all these conquerors. So there were the Romans, there were the Knights of St. John, there were the Arabs, the French, and everyone left its trait in our culture and in our history. Our language is quite particular. It's a Semitic language, but at the same time, although it's the grammar is Arabic, it is written in Latin alphabet. As we already said before, it is a tourist destination, especially because of the warm climate, as well as the historical monuments and the rich history that we have. In Malta, you can even find 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, which are the Hypogeum of House of Lieni, the megalithic temples, and obviously our capital city, Valletta, a great present of the Knights of St. John to the Maltese people. These are 3 of the most important things that you will see on our island. Our main economic sectors. Obviously, aviation is one of our main sectors. When we speak of aviation, we speak of the maintenance and repair area, which is one of the growing business sectors. Obviously, there is the education. Being an English language country, you find a number of English language schools where students can come and learn their English language here. Another new and quite flourishing sector is the ICT sector, which is very much the growing part, and there are a lot of opportunities in this particular sector. Another important sector is the life sciences. Obviously, being an island surrounded by sea, obviously the maritime sector is also another important sector in our economy. Obviously, as we have already stressed before in other slides, tourism is very important, with the number of tourists that move over to Malta to see our island. And finally, but also very important, is the gaming sector. This sector employs over 6,000 employees. Due to this growing economic sector, as we have seen in the other slide, our unemployment rate is quite low. As you can see, the unemployment rate in Malta is just 3.5%. So, as you might well imagine, we need a lot of people to move over to fill in the shortages and the gaps that there are in this particular sectors. Even the youth unemployment, although it's slightly higher, but it's still quite low compared to other European countries, and it's just 8.5%. You can see from this graph, comparing the unemployment rate in Malta with other European countries. The unemployment rate in Malta is marked with the green column. So as you can see, it's one of the lowest in all the European countries. Some information about our labor markets. These are the 10 most requested jobs. These jobs have been notified, as you can obviously well understand, notified to Jobs Plus, which is the public employment service. And this is where we get our data about the most requested jobs in the country. First of all, you see that one of the most requested is cleaners and helpers in offices and hotels. And then going down the line, you have delivery persons, waiters and catering staff, childcare, learning support assistants. Obviously, one of the important positions is as well customer care, as you know. Obviously, laborers in many countries, it's one of the requested areas. Then obviously there is sales, and finally construction. Being a flourishing economy, obviously construction is always cropping up, and obviously there are people needed, laborers needed to fill the shortages because of the construction going on. Here are some of the latest vacancies. Obviously, these vacancies can be visible on the Jobs Plus website, which is the Public Employment Services website. But you can see also these vacancies on the EURES portal. So if you are interested in any of these particular vacancies, it's very simple. Either if you are registered on one of these websites, you register online. But then you need to send the applications to our email address, which is eures.recruitment.jobsplus@gov.mt. We normally receive the CVs, we filter the CVs, and then forward them to the employers. As you can see, there is quite a variety of vacancies from gaming sector, like live studio operator, to more scientific, like the project manager and the aquaculture and aquaculture coordinator, and then to IT jobs like full stack and front-end developers. So you can see that there are quite a variety of jobs available, as we have indicated as well in the other slides as well. Now let's be more more concrete. If someone wants to move to Malta, what are the steps, what are the procedures that the job seeker or the person seeking the move has to do before actually moving to our country? First of all, you are required to inform the taxation department that you will be moving and when you are moving and to where you are moving to, so that you know about the agreements that stand between those particular countries and if there are any bilateral agreements about taxation between your home country and the country you're moving to. In this case, we're speaking about Malta. Another important thing is to obtain the U1 document. The U1 is a social security document. Obviously, it's obtained from the Department of Social Security, and it's needed, obviously, and is necessary when you access social security benefits when you move to another European country. Because obviously it shows the statement of what contributions you paid in your country, and then when you're moving to the host country, it is an evidence that you are paying contributions in another European country. If you are receiving any other benefits, such as unemployment benefits because you are unemployed and registering in your country, then you would need the U2 document. It is similar to the document that I mentioned before, but in this case, it's just to show that you are going to transfer your unemployment benefits from the home country to the host country. There are other documents like the E104 or the S041, which are certificates of insurance for sickness purposes. Obviously, if you have any doubts about any of these documents, from where you have to apply for them or where you can get them, it's very important that you contact the EURES advisors in your home country. And in your home country, in Portugal, you have a good network of advisors that would be ready to help you as well on these subjects as well. Another important document is the European Health Card. This document is used when you move from one European country to the other if you have any emergency health assistance required. Obviously, you will not require this document anymore once you start working and paying contributions. Because once you start paying contributions, you will fall into the system of the country that you are living in. So once you start working here in Malta, then you will not read the E111 because you're paying contributions in Malta, and then you will be able to use the health services here in Malta, like any of the other residents here. Another important topic is to get the recognition of any qualifications or certificates. Certificates that are nationally recognized in a European country can be used in another European country. But before you can use them, you need to get the recognition and the equivalence. It's a document that is produced in the host country, an European host country, and obviously you present this document together with your qualifications. Normally it's in the language, the official language of the country that you are moving to, in the country that you're living in, so that it would be easier when you apply for the employer to know what are the equivalences of the certificates and the qualifications you obtained back in your home country. Here in Malta, the competent authority is the National Higher and Educational Authority here in Malta, and you have the website as well, website link on the slide as well. Besides, there is a European network for recognition that maybe you have already heard about, which is the ENIC-NARIC. And obviously, the National Authority for Higher and Further Education here in Malta is the national branch, so to speak, national equivalent of the ENIC-NARIC, which is the head in all European countries. Obviously, you would be asking, but if I'm going to move, I want to find a job. And how can I start looking for a job and how can I find a job before actually moving to Malta? It is highly recommended that you find the job before you move. Although you have the right to move to Malta and to register as unemployed, it is always better that you have something stable in your hands already before you move. In that case, we recommend you that you can contact our team, either myself or my colleagues, and obviously we can help you and assist you as well how to search for the jobs and even send you links and vacancies for the jobs. To apply for any vacancies, as I have mentioned before, there is a particular website which is eures.recruitment.jobsplus@gov.mt. We receive all the applications, that is CVs and covering letters, in that particular website, particular email address. We filter those emails that we receive and then we forward them to the employers. It is important that when you send a CV or a covering letter, it is important that you send it in English because, as we have said, as the official language is in English, it is important that you send them in English. If you move to Malta and you don't have a job, as we have already said, you have the right to register as unemployed. The public employment service here in Malta is called Jobs Plus. Even before you actually move to Malta, you can start using some of the services offered by this public employment service, by Jobs Plus, because there is the website, which is jobsplus.gov.mt, and you can open an online account. The fact that you have an online account, you can even start searching for vacancies, you can apply online, you can place your CV online and employers can contact you. Besides, you can choose an option that you receive a daily auto mailer with all the new vacancies. And this is, I think, is something useful because you remain updated every day of all the new opportunities that there are in the country. Then, once you move, if you're still without a job, you can register as unemployed. There are a number of benefits to assist people that want to work in Malta, including free childcare services. How to apply for a job? As we have already said, to apply for a job, it's important that you send your CV and covering letter in English. Normally, we ask for a EURES CV. And if you go to the EURES website, you can there fill in the blanks and be assisted how to make a EURES CV. It's important that you include information like personal details, educational background, previous work experience, and skills related to languages, etc. If you have any portfolios or any such things which are requested for a particular vacancy, it's important that you add them to your qualifications. It's important that you add all the personal information. We receive sometimes CVs that might be without either a contact phone number or a contact email address. In that way, you would not be able to be contacted back by the employer. So it's important that you check that you have all the details written down in your CV so that your CV can be obviously checked and then you can be contacted back if you are shortlisted for that particular vacancy. Working in Malta. Now we have moved a step further. Now you have found a job, you have moved to Malta. What you should do to start working before you actually start working. The first thing, it's important that you get the national insurance number. You cannot obtain an NI number, a national insurance number, if you don't have a job already, a job promise already. But you need it before you actually start working. Because once you receive the NI number, you give that NI number to your employer will need this number to fill in, as you can see, step 2, the engagement form. The engagement form is a document that the employer passes to the Public Employment Services in Malta, Jobs Plus, to register your employment. As all employment here in Malta is registered with the Public Employment Service. Once the Public Employment Service, Jobs Plus, processes this application, you will receive an acknowledgement letter. With this acknowledgement letter, then you can move to the other step. That is applying for a residence document, a residence card here in Malta. Because to be able to apply for a residence document in Malta, you would need to be exercising one of the treaty rights. And obviously one of the treaty rights is being in employment, either employed or self-employed, but that is one of the treaty rights that would give you the right to apply for this residence document. The fact that you have this residence document will make it easier for you to use certain services, like to apply for government documents, for utilities, to use bank services. It makes it easier because you have a Maltese document that would make you more accessible to use all these particular national services. Some information about the working conditions. Obviously, there are two types of work contracts, like in many other countries, which are the indefinite contracts or the definite contract. Obviously, the definite contract has a fixed date and an expiry date on it. There's what is called the probation period, that can be between 6 months and 1 year. It is important to know, for your own benefit, that there is no such thing as a trial period. When you are chosen for a job, the employer needs to employ you in a regular way, fill in the documents that we have mentioned before, and then there is this particular period, which is the probation period, where you are still being scrutinized for the job. You as well are seeing if the job fits for you. But during that period, you have all the conditions of an employee. All the conditions, including the national salary, including the salary as well, and other conditions related to employment. In Malta, we have what is called the national minimum wage. That varies depending on your age as well. If you are over 18 years, it is 182.83 euros per week. If you are 17 years, it goes down to 176.05. And then if you're under 17, it's 173.1. I want to stress, this is not the average wage. This is the minimum wage. And normally, someone would receive the minimum wage if either he is unskilled or she is unskilled, no experiences. At least there's a guarantee that no employer can give less than that amount. That's why there is the national minimum wage regulation. Obviously, the working hours are like all other European countries, are the 40 hours plus 8 hours overtime. If you're going to work more, there have to be written consensus between the two parts. There's the vacation leave, which at the moment is 216 hours paid. Obviously, there are other types of leave, like bereavement leave, birth leave, marriage leave, etc. These types of leaves are also granted by law and by regulations and are above the vacation leave and are the notice periods. The notice period is the time you give when you are going to move from one job and you're going to terminate a job, the time you give to your employer telling him that you are going, telling him or her that you are going to terminate the employment. And it's stipulated by law. You cannot just tell the employer, tomorrow I'm not coming to work. There are certain number of weeks or months, depending on how much have you been working in that company. For example, if you have worked more than between 1 month and 6 months, then you have 1 week notice, for example. All this information is available on the website of the Department of Industry and Employment Relations, the DEIER, Department of Industrial and Employment Relations. If you're moving to Malta and work as a self-employed, in that case, obviously, there is a particular one-stop shop called Business First. Business First will assist you with everything, from information to documentation, everything in one place. Even all the documents that you will require, like opening a VAT account, having a tax account, filling in, say, the engagement form, the NI number. You can do everything in one particular place. That's why Business First is the A to Z for anything related to starting a business. At the end of this slide, you have as well their website, which is businessfirst.com.mt for your information, and if you want to get more information about this one-stop shop in relation to self-employment. Taxation and national insurance. Taxation and national insurance, if you are employed, are deducted automatically by the employer from your salary. So you don't have to worry to make the payments yourselves. You would have to make the payments yourself only if you are self-employed. But if you are employed, it is the employer has the duty to deduct these amounts. Some information, obviously, as you can see, the national insurance is normally 10% of the salary. The employer pays the same amount as it is deducted from your salary as well. And with the NI contributions that you're paying, you're covered both for healthcare and health assistance, any social benefits, and eventually as well unemployment and pensions at a later stage. For more information about Social Security, you can visit the website of the Social Security. There's a particular section when it comes to moving from one EU country to another, which is the International Relations Unit of the Department of Social Security, obviously, which have more expertise on these movements of European nationals from one country to another. Some information about taxation. These are the rates, obviously, basic rates for this year, 2022. As you can see, taxes are divided into 3 categories: the single rate, the married rate, and the parent rate. Obviously, depending if you are either single, married, or parent. Besides, there are different brackets. So if you earn a particular amount of money, for example, if you're earning around 19,000 euros, you're not going to pay 25% on the whole amount, but it would be, as you can see, as staggered, that for the first 9,000 you don't pay taxes, from 9,000 onwards you pay 15%, and then from 14,000 you pay. So it's a staggering type of taxation, and you have as well the way how it can be worked out. For more information, obviously, you can visit the website cfr.gov.mt. The taxation system in Malta is a pay-as-you-earn system, so you don't have to worry, because if you, for example, pay more in the beginning of the year, obviously you'll be paying a bit less at the end of the year, so that you don't have to pay more as a total at the end of the year, and vice versa. Obviously, if there are still taxation, either you have paid more or you paid less, obviously then the department is obviously responsible to refund you if you paid more or less. If you paid less, obviously you have to pay the difference. But with this system, the pay-as-you-earn, there is more flexibility. So it's easier that at the end of the year you have paid what exactly you should have paid to the taxes department. This is the national insurance table. Obviously, as we have said, mainly is 10%, but then depending on the wages and the salary that you are receiving. Living in Malta. We already spoke a bit about the residence card. As we have said before, the residence card is the document that you can apply for once you are exercising one of the treaty rights. You are either employed or self-employed, either economically self-sufficient, or you are a student. Spouses or children under 21 can accompany EU nationals. After a continuous period of 5 years in Malta, the EU EAA national can apply for permanent residence, provided that she or he has not left Malta for more than 6 months. For more information, the competent authority in respect of residence document and residence cards is the Identity Malta, identitymalta.com/expatriates unit. Renting and accommodation. First of all, I highly recommend you that before you move, you make your workings properly. So, that's why we recommend you that you have a job before moving, because you know what you are going to receive, a salary. You check and you obviously weigh what are the prices related to accommodation so that you would be know what you are going to earn and you are going to pay in accommodation. As you can see, the prices related to renting prices here in Malta are not very cheap and can even go up to between 1,000 1,500 euros as well per month. So it's important that you make the arrangements. Normally you are assisted by rental estate agents, and you can find information about their contact details even if you make a Google search. Social media pages for renting are also generally popular. Rent is normally paid in advance, with 1 month's rent paid as a deposit when you first move in. It is important to keep the accommodation costs in mind, as I have told you before. Compare. Don't just move to Malta and then, because you might find yourself in problems, because you might find an accommodation which is too expensive and you're earning less. So that's why it is important that you make the workings, if possible, before you move to Malta. As from the 1st of January 2020, Malta introduced new laws in relation to the rental market. This governs the minimum and maximum rental periods for long lets and short lets, respectively, among other subjects. Cost of living. These are some of the prices of the things that you obviously need for your everyday life. As you can see, the prices are mid-range when you compare them with other European countries. It's not cheap, but it's not overly expensive as well. So, but it's important that you keep in mind the prices, because these are things that you will be needing for your everyday life. The healthcare system. Malta has a public healthcare system, which is free, but has also a private healthcare system. It is important to note that Malta has a strong general practitioner delivery primary care base. And then the public hospitals provide secondary and tertiary. So if you're going to use the private practitioners, in many cases, that is private. And obviously, you might have to pay, obviously, if it's private, for these general practitioners. It's for the other services that are provided by the public hospitals that they are free once you are paying the contributions, as we have said before. The state health system is funded, as I have been telling you, by the social security contributions. And it's free for everyone who is paying the contributions. You don't have to pay for using hospitals. Everything here in Malta, when you're speaking about public health service, is free of charge. Obviously, it is important that you present either your pay slips and obviously if you have the residence document as well. And this will provide you the healthcare, the free healthcare in Malta. For more information, you can visit the website ehic.gov.mt. The education system. Here, the education system is divided in the primary, secondary, post-secondary, and then the university. There are three types of school structures. There are the state-operated, and these are free. And then there are the private, the independent schools, which are at a charge, and the Catholic schools. These are normally free of charge as well. In the further education, there are also a few institutions that offer diplomas and degrees up to postgraduate level. In recent years, Malta has also become a hub for the tuition of the English language. As we have already mentioned before, there are a number of English language schools where you can come over to Malta to better your English speaking skills, obviously. And in that way, you can become more employable in many occupations in Malta and in the EU. Our public transport. Here in Malta, we don't have trains or undergrounds. It's a very small country, so it's very accessible by public transport. The public transports operate the service between 5 and 11 p.m. and then during the night there is the night service. Fares are divided hourly, daily, or weekly. Once you are living in Malta, you can apply for the, we call it Tallinja card, which is the Tallinja is in Maltese for bus. So it's the bus card. And with that bus card, you can be able to benefit from special prices offered as well by the public transport for frequent users as well. A ferry service operates between many of the cities as well, like Sliema and Valletta and the three old cities. So you have that possibility as well. And you can use the bus card, the Tallinja card as well to use the ferry service. For more information, there is the Malta Public Transport website for more information about our public transport system. As you might be aware, you might have read before, the public transport in recent years have changed. So you are not going to see the old buses that were historical here in Malta. Now those types of buses are only used for touristic purposes, for tourist guided tours, but there is a private company that operates with modern buses that operates the public transport here in Malta. How can EURES help you? Already our colleagues in the beginning of the presentation gave a brief overview of what is EURES. So I'm not going to go into much detail, but EURES is a network of 31 countries, and we all help to facilitate mobility, and make it easier for you as job seekers to move from one country to another. We are over 900 trained advisors, so you will find a number of us ready to help you and assist you. Do use our service. It's better that you contact us and know beforehand what are the things that you should do, what are the documents that you need, because once you move, it might be a bit more difficult and you might face difficulties if you have not made the preparations before you have actually moved. Obviously, there is the EURES portal, where on the EURES portal you'll find all the information related to EURES, all the vacancies, over 3 million vacancies, all the contact details of the EURES advisors, as well the services offered, like the EURES chat service, for example, that is a service provided by a number of countries where we can meet job seekers and chat with you. Obviously, there is the European Job Days website, which is another portal available where we do our online events like job fairs, events, and so on. Especially this platform was used during these particular 2 years because obviously online on-site events were not so easy to do and to organize. So this EOJD platform, the European Job Days platform, was particularly useful these particular 2 years. Obviously, in your case, if you're moving to Malta, do feel free to contact us. We are ready to assist you, and even not only job seekers, but also employers who want to use the services. In your case, if you are job seekers, we assist you on how to find employment. We provide you information about living and working conditions. We inform you about social security and taxation. We assist you to get the contacts of the particular departments that you will be needing, like the Department of Social Security or the Department of Taxation. All the other useful information, like what are the jobs that are more advertised, information about the local market. Besides, you have our website as well, which is the euresmalta.com.mt. Finally, you have our contact details. Our email address, which is eures.jobsplus@gov.mt, the website of JobsPlus and the website of EURES Malta, our phone numbers, 22201 or 663, and the international codes 00356. Our Facebook page, where we upload information daily, and as well you can send us messages and we can contact you. The EURES chat, as I have told you before, and our Instagram page as well. If you have need any information, you have any queries, you have any information that you want to know, we are here to help you. Not only after this event or as part of this event, but we are there to help you. So feel free, we are more than happy to help you, and you are more than welcome to contact us during our office hours, and we will give you all the information, the assistance that is required. I hope that the information that I presented during this presentation was not boring, was clear so that you could understand it. But after this presentation, you are also going to have some time, as I have told you before, to ask questions. If you have anything that we have mentioned during the presentation that is not clear and you want further clarification, or you have particular queries that maybe we have not addressed during this presentation, feel free to use the chat rooms and the chat to answer these questions. If eventually, after the end of this session, you didn't manage to get contact with us or the information is still not clear, then in that case, you still have our email address, and then you can contact us as well and give you information there as well. So for the time being, I'm going to close this presentation. I, together with my colleagues, I'm going to be online as well, still ready to answering your questions and the queries that you have. And thank you very much for your patience and being attentive to this presentation. Thank you very much.
If anyone is willing to put the question in live voice, please feel free to do it by raising your hand also. We would like to hear your voices as well, not only the chat.
We have one hand, Nair Ferreira. You can turn the mic and the video if you want.
Hello, good morning. So I have a question about the European health insurance card. Where can I get it?
European, you can the most common you can have it in Portugal. You can ask on. You are in Portugal, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, you can ask in the social security.
Okay, okay.
It's easier. It's easy. It's very easy.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome. Another. More questions? Flor, you can ask. Can turn your micro and your camera if you want also.
No, it's actually not a specific question. I was looking for the chat, but I don't have access to it.
Oh, on the top of the screen, you have tem balão tipo de uma legenda. Está a ver? Clica aí na parte de cima e depois abre-se do lado direito a janela com para poder escrever.
Não tenho, eu não sei se é por estar no Mac, mas não tenho.
Não lhe aparece a barra de ferramentas com o balãozinho das legendas?
Às vezes não aparece, às vezes não aparece.
Então falo, então pode falar.
So yeah, sorry. So my
and
question...
if you want, you can turn your camera also.
It's okay. My internet is not that good. A bit shy as well. My question is related to the job areas. So there was two of the job sectors. One is in marine services and one is in the life sciences. So for example, me, I'm a marine biologist and I work mainly with marine biology and environmental services. Which one of these sectors should I look more into?
Obviously, when it comes to marine and environmental, for example, there are the aquaculture companies that need biologists and marine experts, obviously, in that people specialize in environmental sciences that obviously can fill these gaps. And there are a number of these areas that you can apply for. If you wish, you can send us an email and we can send you some email contacts of companies that you can contact them directly as well to get more information about their companies and what jobs they offer as well. So if you want, you can send your CV to eures.jobsplus@gov.mt. Obviously, we can make a note that you have spoken during the presentation about the marine sector, about environmental scientists and so on, and then we can give you the contact details of these companies by email as well.
Okay, thank you. I will do that then. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ana, penso que há mais alguém com a mão no ar.
Tá. Please, you can speak Miguel. Miguel or Sonia, I don't know. You can turn on your micro, please. Miguel or Sonia?
It will be Sonia. Hello.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
I am a psychologist in Portugal, and I want to know a little bit more about the market and what should I do to get my certificate recognized in Malta?
Well, first of all, you have to do two things. Obviously, a psychologist, one of the regulated so-called regulated professions. So first of all, you have to contact the Council of Psychology, obviously to register with them, depending on the sector of psychology that you are working in, which is either a particular school or a particular section like counseling or psychotherapy, because obviously there are the branches even in the psychological council where you need to register. That's the first step. And then obviously to get the recognition of the certificates is the Malta Further and Higher Authority. The recognition and equivalence of certificates is done online via their website. So if you are planning to move to Malta, you can even do it before you actually move, because you go to their website, there is the application, you upload the certificates, and you can get obviously the equivalence and recognition of certificates online. Obviously, it's against payment. So obviously, you are going to do it if you are actually moving to Malta for a particular job. So if you want to move to Malta to work as a psychologist, first of all, the first step is what I would recommend, contacting the counseling, the psychology council board, so that you register with them. Normally, the other step, they would guide you automatically what you should do step by step to arrive even to the recognition of certificates and so on. So you would find people who are ready to help you. And then once you have all this ready, you can then search for the jobs and apply to work here in Malta. I hope that it answered.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you can also apply, you can also contact us in Portugal to ask, because EURES provides a target mobility scheme and you can apply for support, you see, to have that recognition. Okay, I will put here our email and you can contact us. Nidia, you want to speak? I understand.
Yeah, Marvin, about this, the language, it's mandatory to these professions and to the recognition. Maltese,
It's important.
I mean.
Normally, the important thing is that they know at least English. It's important that they know English fluently, because we have European nationals that are working in these regulated professions. So the important thing is, obviously, when it comes to finding a job, you're not going to find a job that deals with, for example, directly with a particular section of the population, because it might be difficult to communicate with them. But maybe it would be easier in other sections, like psychologists that are working in companies, in employment sector, because obviously it's easier to use English in that area as well. But they can find these regulated professions as well. It's important that they know English well, at least.
Thanks, Marvin.
Thanks.
More questions?
There is a question in the chat. I don't know if our colleagues from Malta want to suggest some answer or another way of contact, since it's a very personal question, not general one.
My question.
And so it's regarding
about the one about tourism.
About bibliography, heritage.
If the person wishes to send an email with the CV as well, I will be able to answer him or her directly, give more information and links and maybe what is required. So our email address is eures.jobsplus@gov.mt. I will be receiving the email, so I would know what and give you the links where you can apply for history and cultural heritage. So I can give you even the entities and agency that work in those areas, and you can contact them directly as well eventually. So feel free to contact. He can feel or she can feel free to contact us on our email address.
Katia Oliveira, you can can put your question, please.
Hello, good morning. My question is about the national minimum wage that were presented per week. We received per week or per month?
The national minimum wage is per week.
Okay, and our expenses, we pay them like water, electricity, rent, it's per month?
Normally you receive the utilities bills every 2 months.
Okay. Thank you so much, and thank you for the presentation, Marvin.
Thank you. And if you have any other queries, feel free even to send us
Yes, I have
either an email.
some questions about education. I'm a teacher, and I want to know about the applying for teaching. I don't know if you have platforms for that.
If you want to work as a teacher, first of all, you have to contact the Council for the Teaching Profession. And obviously, with them, through them, apply for your warrant. And obviously, then they will tell you the process, how to apply for the warrant, how to get the recognition of your academic certificates. Once you have the warrant, then you can apply for the teaching positions. They would assist you, especially for teaching positions, even in relation to teaching positions in the public sector. Obviously, when it comes to teaching positions in the private sector, those are advertised normally either through Jobs Plus, the Public Employment Services, or other recruitment sites.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Daniela, I understand you want to speak, please.
Hi, yes. So I am Marvin's colleague. I just wanted to add something. So the vacancies which you saw during this presentation is just a sample of just some of the vacancies that we have. So if you would like to know more about our vacancies, you can go on the Jobs Plus website, or else, as I have wrote on the chat, we also offer CV matching services. So if you do not like any of those vacancies which you saw, but you still would like to move to Malta and find a job here, you can also send us your CV and we will be able to assist you with CV matching. We will match your CV with the vacancies that we have, and then we will send you vacancy suggestions. And then if you tell us that you are interested in a particular vacancy which we have suggested, then we will forward your CV to the employer. So those vacancies are not the whole list of vacancies that we have in Malta, of course. These are just a small sample to give you an idea of what we have.
So if there are no other questions, maybe now we could try to organize the breakout rooms. Do you agree, Marvin and Diane and Jill?
Yes, sure.
Yes. I think we covered everything. So first of all, thank you so much, Marvin, for your brilliant presentation. It was very thorough. It was very detailed. Also, thank you for Giliane and Diana for taking over the chat and helping us in this way. Before we move forward, I ask my colleague Carmen if she can put the last slide so that we can promote our next joint event we are having together with other EURES colleagues, but namely with Malta. It's this new event that we would like to highlight. It's a specific recruitment event that will be organized in March in the European Job Days platform that Marvin also talked about. It's called Seize the Summer. It's for those who are qualified or experienced in tourism, hospitality, or catering with different language skills and backgrounds willing to work during the 2022 summer season. So be free to log in and take a look at what we can offer this next 22nd of March. Now, many of you showed interest in personalized advice, and our colleagues from Malta are available for the next 25-30 minutes to answer your concrete questions and more personal doubts. So if you have a concrete possibility to relocate to Malta, or if your mobility project is already well prepared, or you have a concrete job opportunity and you want to take this advantage to have this personalized advice today, please raise your hand and we will see how many of you are interested, and we will try to organize this. For all other participants, we thank you all very much for joining us today. We will send the presentations, the recording of the webinar to the email you provided in the registration form later on. And now we invite you to leave this session and hope to see you again in our next event.